The Bambu Lab A1 Mini is arguably the most affordable and easiest entry-level 3D printer on the market today. And when paired with the AMS Lite, you unlock the ability for multicolor printing, all for around $350. But if you've been using an AMS system for any length of time, you'll know there's one issue. The filament waste. There's a lot of it, but there's ways to fix that. So today I'm going to take you inside of Bambu Studio, and we're going to take a look at some filament settings to see if we can't cut down on filament waste and overall print time. And then we'll take a look at one little trick that I use to clean my build plate, which isn't really a trick at all, it's just soap and water. But if you're interested in seeing how it's done, stick around and enjoy today's video. For those new to 3D printing or the AMS Lite, here's a quick rundown. AMS Lite is Bambu Lab's automatic material system that lets you print multiple colors by swapping spools as needed. The process is completely automated, but every time that a color change happens, the printer purges filament to clean out the nozzle. In the left-hand side of Bambu Studio, go to Filament Settings, and under Filament Settings, you'll see a tab called Flushing Volumes. By default, Bambu Lab sets these settings pretty high in my opinion. What I found throughout my last year of testing with the Bambu Lab machines is that you can get away with a much more conservative amount of around 150 to 200 millimeters cubed instead of those stock 5 to 600. The goal here is to use just enough purging to clean the nozzle without wasting any extra time or filament. So before we change these settings around, we were flushing 74.55 grams of filament according to Bambu Studio for a total of 157.97 grams and 10 hours and 43 minutes of total printing time. After changing these settings around, we've more than cut our flushed volume in half down to 33.63 grams. So now we're only using 116.99 grams, and we've cut nearly an hour and 20 minutes of time off the total print time. But that doesn't exactly paint the whole picture, because if printing with these lower purging volumes decreases the quality of our prints, then it's not really worth it, is it? So we're going to print some out over on the A1 Mini with the AMS using our original settings of 77 point something grams of filament flushing, and then we're going to print it out again using our revised settings. So unfortunately, like you just saw in that time lapse there, we lost 3 or 4 out of the 5 that we printed due to a bed failure. So aside from the fact that they're a little bit rough in some areas where some of the extra filament from those failed ones got attached to it, overall it's a very clean print. There's no color mixing between any of the different colors, even from black to white, looking good. So let's redo this print now using our revised flushing settings and see if we get a different result. So on my right-hand side is the one completed without the revised settings. These are Bambu's stock flushing settings. And on my left side, I have our revised settings. Can you tell the difference? Looking at them up close from the front view, you can see the one on the right-hand side does have those strings there from where the failed prints kind of knocked into it, but I wanted to leave that there so we kind of have a reference point. But yeah, there's absolutely no difference in terms of the color swap and print quality between 663 millimeters cubed and 175. And that cut down an hour and 20 minutes and nearly 40 grams in filament waste. Speaking of filament waste, let's take a look at the differences from our original one to our revised one. I've got my mini shipping scale set up here. I've zeroed it out using one of our empty poop chute trays. And when we load it up onto the scale with the poop from our first print, we can see we have 91 grams of overall filament waste from that first print. A little bit higher than what Bambu Studio originally told us of around 77. And with our revised flushing settings, we have 48 grams of waste. So again, a little bit higher than Bambu's 33 that it told us it was going to be, but still cutting it about in half. And when we put them side by side with each other, you can notice one thing right off the bat, and that's the amount of white filament that is not in our revised one. Essentially with the first print, it just kept purging and purging and purging like you're seeing on screen now, even after white was clearly already changed over, as you can see from our side-by-side comparison. Even on the revised settings, we still have more than enough purging to complete that full color change without mixing any colors. So that process is the same inside of Bambu Studio and Orca Slicer, as well as any of the other forks of Orca Slicer. If you didn't know about that process, leave me a comment down below so I know at least I helped somebody in this video. And let's go over to the sink right now so I can show you my little trick for washing the build plates, which isn't really a trick at all. Over at the sink, it's a really simple process. I turn on the water. Wow. I get the build plate a little bit wet, and I put some Dawn dish soap on the top of it. Now this is the part that some people might disagree with me on. I just use my hand. The way I look at it is even if you have grease on your fingers, you're washing it with an anti-grease soap. So you're not only removing them from your fingers, but you're going to get them off the build plate too. And I will do this twice. That way if there was any grease left over from my fingers, we know it gets it off there. It's a super quick process. And I just kind of let the water run down the surface of the build plate. Make sure we're rinsing off all of the extra soap. I'll hit the back a little bit in case we got any soap on there. I let it drain off like this, and then I move it over onto a towel. The towel is nothing special, it's just a normal towel. You're a towel! Essentially, I'll just stick it in there and dry it off. I do wash this quite frequently, and I've never had any issues with any fibers or anything from the towel coming loose onto the build plate, as you can see there. It's a nice clean surface, no grease, and that's ready to be used. Now, I'm not saying this is the best method for cleaning your build plate. It's just what I have found to work best in my situation. I've tried using isopropyl alcohol like other people recommend, and I've just not found it to work the best. I've had failed prints come off the build plate after a numerous number of hours printing, but after using the dish soap and hot water method, I do have a much higher success rate when it comes to my prints. If you happen to be one of those people who's not a fan of cleaning your build plate that often, then the one I would recommend for you is definitely the Cryo Grip from BQ. I have mentioned it in a few past videos. I'll link those down in the description below if you haven't seen them before. But this Cryo Grip that I've had on screen now, I've had for 3 or 4 months, if not longer, and I have not cleaned it once. I have printed I don't know how many different keychains and dumbbells and all sorts of different things on it, and never once put it through the paces of cleaning it. And it still sticks just as good as it did on day one. So if you're somebody who's interested in a less maintenance build plate, I highly recommend this one on screen now from BQ, the Cryo Grip. If you're interested in picking up one of those Cryo Grip plates for yourself, they are only available in that particular style for the A1, P1, and X1 series of printers, but they do have other variations for the A1 Mini and some of the other brands of printers out there as well. I will have that one linked down in the description below for those of you interested in picking one up. And I'm always looking for more ideas on tips and tricks that I can show you guys. After 3D printing for any length of time, at least in my case, it's easy to forget about the things that I found difficult in the beginning. So if there's something you have a question about, leave it down in the comments below and I'll try to address it in a future video. And we also picked our winners for the 10,000 subscriber giveaway. We actually surpassed the 10,000 subscribers, and right now we're sitting around 11,200. So I thank you to everybody who participated in the giveaway, and a congratulations to our 5 winners. They've all been contacted at the email they provided when they registered for the giveaway. If you found this video at all helpful, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like it, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. If you're interested in checking out some of my small 3D print farm content, I've got a couple more videos queued up for you on screen right now. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.